since my research focused on future studies and foresight, we always consider that the future is uncertain. So, for example, during this time that we are going through this pandemic, this was largely unexpected. A year ago or a year and a half ago, we didn't expect such possibility. This just emerged and changed our lives fundamentally. So that's why we are talking about alternative scenarios. And when it comes to the relationships between technology and human, it is also a good idea to think about some alternative futures. So I designed here a 2x2 matrix comparing human enhancement versus technological advancement. So you see that there are two axes, and the vertical one is showing technological advancement if we experience some radical technological enhancements or incremental ones. Or on the horizontal line, we have human enhancement. So what will happen at this front? Whether we experience some radical developments, improvements, or some incremental ones. And this picture actually brings us to 4 alternative scenarios for the future. And all of them are possible to some extent. So it's always a good idea to think about them and their possible consequences. So when we look at those scenarios, we see that we are at the time of bounded intelligence. So we are very much still, at this point of time, dependent on human intelligence. We are using machines, using some smartphones and technologies, but these are mainly helping us in our daily activities. So we have still limitations in understanding what's happening around us. We still don't understand the nature very well. We are still suffering from pandemics. We cannot stop it over 1 year already. So this trend actually may continue, and we may still have some incremental improvements, but nothing may change at a drastic kind of level. But on the other hand, there might be some progress towards improving human intelligence, for example. We may also explore some new fronts in terms of enhancing and advancing human capacities. We may understand the nature better. We may invent some new physical or natural laws, and this may take us actually to a new level, new cognitive abilities, new learning abilities, new logic, new reasoning, and then we can understand the problems and recognize them and develop some solutions. But what we see probably is at the moment a trend towards the top of this picture. On the top, we have 2 alternatives. One is going to the path to the root of technology intelligence, which is towards singularity, when machine intelligence outpaces our abilities to maintain control over it. So machines can't control themselves. And this is the point: machines can learn themselves without being taught and trained by humans. So this is one pathway, and there are a lot of people working on this direction, and some of them are saying that by 2045 we will reach the age of singularity, which is likely. But is this the future that we want, that a human out-of-the-loop system, that human is not part of the system, but the control is taken by machine and artificial intelligence? On the other hand, we have another option, bringing human technology intelligence together and building human technology collective intelligence. So this actually includes some enhancements in human and advancements in technology. How human brain and technology can connect so that they can collectively act more intelligent than any other person, group, or computer. I guess this is the kind of most desirable future among all those 4. And how to get there is our main question. So there are several technologies. I won't go through them in detail because we've heard about them already. Mainly these are technologies to improve our body or our mind, like cognitive skills. On the body side, we may have some physical technologies, cosmetic technologies, or longevity technologies, for example, anti-aging. We have a book by our dear colleague Jose Cordero. He's talking about the death of death, for example, and the longevity technologies. So there is also a path of research evolving in this direction. And there are also technologies related to improve our cognitive abilities and mind. Effective technologies, again, cognitive technologies, moral technologies to make ourselves feel better, for example, against development. Because if we lose control, if we lose our hope, for example, and positive energy, then we may lose the game against the machines and artificial intelligence. So there are several points that we need to consider in order to make sure that human stays in the loop. Human exists with artificial intelligence and the technology. First of all, we need to think about the technology element. How technologies converge with each other, and how brain converges with technology, and how our brains connect to each other. So brain-to-brain convergence. There's also the human element. So we should make sure that human remains at the center of all these developments. Otherwise, we'll lose the meaning of living and meaning of our existence on this planet. So we need to develop some technologies which are human-centered and technology-driven at the same time. And human well-being, health, and performance should be at the core of this new system. And in order to achieve this, of course, we need interdisciplinarity and intercultural scholarship. And there's a third important element, the ecosystem. How this ecosystem will work, how it will be regulated, standards, policies, and legal frameworks. This is probably a very timely discussion in terms of thinking about this ecosystem. Maybe we are even a little bit late because the research is advancing every day and we have only a few initiatives looking at the standards, policies, and legal aspects, social and ethical considerations, mental privacy and confidentiality. Imagine if we can read each other's brains, or if a machine can read our brains. So where is the privacy and confidentiality? So these are important questions. Today, we see some emergence of the concept, which is called neuro rights. And in Columbia University, there are only a few initiatives so far, but I expect that they will increase. And maybe we at the Higher School of Economics can also open this front, because this is probably a weak signal of what is coming in the near future. So we see that in Columbia University in the US, there's the Neuro Rights Initiative, protecting human rights and promoting ethical innovation in the fields of neurotechnology and artificial intelligence. One interesting development comes from South America. Chile, to become the first country to incorporate neuro rights into its constitution to prevent the misuse of artificial intelligence and neurotechnology. This is a very proactive approach, I would say, at the national level policy making. Probably this is a point that we need to consider. And finally, we see a study by IEEE on standards roadmap for neurotechnologies for brain-machine interfacing. Because the future, at least the desirable future, is to the direction where humans, machines, brain, and technology will exist together. Here is a book co-edited by myself, Professor Gökberg, and Dirk Meissner, our colleague from the HSE. We have a chapter in here about human enhancement technologies. If you would like to hear more about this discussion, you are welcome to have a look. Thank you.